Welcome, everyone, to Catholic Sunday Scriptures in Context. This is a ministry of the Augustinian Order as well as St. Paul Parish. Today we are focusing on the fourth Sunday of Easter, which is also known as Good Shepherd Sunday, April 20th, 21st. Our first reading comes from the Acts of the Apostles, and the apostles have cured this cripple, and now they're brought before the leaders of the Jewish people to explain their actions. And it's important to know that for the Jewish people, miracles had three purposes. They validated the words of the prophet who could perform the miracle, or of God whose words they were speaking. It proved a person's innocence, because only miracles could be done by the innocent, or it was God showing they were innocent, like Daniel in the fire and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Or it was an acknowledgement of the superiority of the God of Israel versus other gods. So this miracle here is, the apostles are saying it was done so that Jesus' power could be known. In the reading, he mentions Annas and Caiaphas because Luke wants to show that Peter and John share in the sufferings of Jesus. And their words and actions fulfill the words of Jesus that you will be brought before authorities and be made to account for your actions, and they will hate you because of it. So this prophecy that Luke wrote in his gospel is coming true. And the authors say that, and the author of this gospel says that Luke is the source of, that Jesus is the source of the apostles' power. Sorry about that. And by using the phrase the cornerstone, it is really part of the early Christian proclamation that Jesus was the Messiah, the cornerstone rejected by the builders, the stone rejected by the builders that has become the cornerstone. And also in this reading, which you'll see in a moment, they use the word saved here, which is also the word for healed. In the Greek scriptures here, those words were interchangeable as the term that Luke uses here. So you see that in that, a good deed was done to a cripple. He was saved, meaning he was healed. And it was in the name of Jesus Christ that this was done. And there's that phrase about the cornerstone. In the second reading from John's first letter, John says that all believers can participate in the sonship and the relationship between God and Jesus. And Jesus gave us that gift. That's seen at the end of the Gospel of John, where Mary is given to John and John receives Mary. And what makes you a child of God is your belief that Jesus is the Son of God. But by believing in that, you will also share in the treatment that Jesus endured. People will resent you for it and maybe persecute you for it. But if you endure, you shall be like him. And this is certainly a message of hope, which is what John was trying to give his community in the midst of persecution. That you may be called children of God, and the world does not know us. That's why it rejects them. But if you endure, you shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. And lastly, the gospel on this fourth Sunday of Easter is always from John chapter 10. And this is in the second part of the gospel. And this idea of the Good Shepherd is unique to John's gospel. It's not found in any of the other three. And one of the things that you need to understand about sheep herding in the ancient world is outside of towns there were these sheepfolds, and the shepherds would bring their sheep in, and it was a stoned, an area that had a rectangular or square area that had stone walls, and the sheep would go in there at night, and different shepherds would bring their sheep. And one of the shepherds, they all had their turn, would sleep at the gate to keep the sheep in and to protect the sheep from marauders or wolves or something. And then in the morning, the shepherds would whistle or call, and the sheep would recognize the voice of their shepherd and follow only their shepherd. They wouldn't go with any others. The Palestinian shepherd always walked ahead of his sheep and led them. There were no dogs back then. That became a later development. And then even later, people would ride on horses behind the sheep. But in the time of Jesus, the Palestinian shepherd would always walk to the front and his sheep would follow him. And in this reading, it's critical that John says Jesus laid down his life in order to take it up again. It was a calculated purpose. And John equates Jesus with God by saying he had the power to lay it down and he had the power to take it up again. And the reference to the leaders of the Jewish people as bad shepherds comes from Ezekiel 34. So this, you really should read that in order to better understand this gospel. And so a good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. I know mine and mine know me. And then, in order, I lay it down in order to take it up again. I have power to lay it down and the power to take it up again. And in that upper part there, whose sheep are not his own, sees a wolf coming and leaves the sheep and runs away, and the wolf catches and scatters them because they work for pay. That is that reference to Ezekiel 34. Please pray for peace in the world, and if you think this can be helpful to someone, please pass it on. Thank you very much.